Howdy folks, got a 2v2 for you, which is me and JD versus LastRuffy and Xaros. This map is Nadai, it's a 2v2, and I wanted to highlight the idea of comebacks. So I guess that's like a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm going to fail this beginning pretty hard. And I'm not saying this is the best played gameplay, but I think this is an interesting game, and I think it shows you what you need to do to create comebacks, or at least the potential for comebacks, right? Like, yeah, you'll see like after 2 minutes in this game, it is, uh, you know, game over if our opponents played correctly. But the idea is to give some opportunities for them to make some mistakes. So basically, I microed this poorly and was not able to get out of that nasty, and that knocked my scavenger back the correct amount, so that I think he was even able to kill my scavenger. Oh, no, he didn't. Never mind. So that's obviously a disadvantage for me, but my scavenger is alive, so power-wise, I'm actually fine. He spent 10 power more than me. So when yeah. So my idea here is that I'm going to remove my scavenger over here, get some ground presence, and then get an attack going on Ruby. Meanwhile, I've got my Sunstriders here, because I wanted to just kind of like neutralize his enemies as far away from mine as I could. I spent interruption, and he frenzied both his guys, so I should run away. So I figured I'm gonna come take these archers and go into the attack as well. I don't know who played the mine here. Rookie played that mine. What happened to my scavenger? My scavenger over here, and I took a well. So that's in some sense a little bit greedy, but also Xaros had taken like 2 wells back here, so that's kind of like my well that I deserved, but a little late. Now the problem is that my archers are way over here. So Xaros now has 100 power more, really like 100 plus my scavenger. He's got like 150 power extra to attack me with, and there's no way I can defend this. So I played this Sunshine, which was a mistake, and then as soon as I played that, I realized like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to defend this. I mean, I kind of baited him into frenzying this for sniping, which is okay because it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and my well dies. But in return, my Sunstriders are over here, and Roofy's well is going to drop with my Sunder attack. So I did lose as well, and Roofy is definitely going to lose that well too. He dropped the mine, but with life weaving, there's no other units the Sunder is going to live, or at least get a days, and that wall's going to go down. What I should probably do now is to start making some more units to defend off this attack. But I think I wanted to have some extra power in the tank in case I needed to like weave. Now what I should do here, I think honestly, is just to kill my Sunder. Trying to keep theirs a little greedy, and I probably should have put mine a little bit in this direction to make the Forsaken walk a little bit more. That wasn't a great mine placement. So he instant frenzied, and I'm going to lose this spell. I've got my Sunder. Yeah, so I think I decided I'm just going to kill it to get the Void Return back. And did I really fail Eruption here? I didn't notice the life weaving. I thought, oh, he's got a Ravage on, so I can just kill him. So I don't know if that would have saved my power well, but anyway. So here's the situation is that I lost 2 wells, and so I effectively got the same number of wells I started at. JD has plus 3 wells, Xaros has plus 2 wells and he's tier 2. Roofy has plus 1 well and he's tier 2. And JD is also tier 2. I think I forgot to mention that. So what I need to do now is to get to tier 2. And yeah, so you've seen that basically we've lost 2 wells. Roofy has lost 1 well. And I've got a pretty severe map control problem. And it's, I don't even have power to go tier 2 right now because I'm in a quite bad position. But I guess the reason why this kind of works is not so bad is because my deck is only tier 2. I don't have any tier 3 in my deck. And this means that I'm going to be quite effective on low power wells. So what you're going to see is I'm actually not going to take another well in this entire game. Because we're behind, right? Like, they've got more wells than us, so the longer we are not aggressive, there's a mine, I think that mine did an okay job. But yeah, basically the longer that we're not aggressive, then the more advantage they're going to take. But my partner, JD, has a quite extensive tier 3, and he's got Harvester, which is really powerful. So let's take a look at his power. Yeah. So anyway, my job right now, I guess, basically is to play defense and to try to slow down the enemies from welling up, and meanwhile JD can well up, and then he can get a very powerful harvester attack or something like this going on. And if our enemies play proactive, they've already got an advantage of powerballs. If they just kind of like neutralize our defense and keep the powerballs, they'll be fine. But we're giving them an opportunity to be a little bit greedy, right? They're taking some wells, and I'm not taking any wells. So yeah, obviously that's really bad for my income. That was also like a not great lava field, I think. I won't be able to defend this with a root and no corruption. Again, that's works well because my partner has power, especially with those resource boosters. So it looks like he's got only like 3 extra or 4 extra wells, but it's closer to 5 or 6 extra wells, I guess. So basically, he has the highest income of any power, and I've got by far the worst income of any player. I'm going to go do another root before he gets out of the Xaros, then he's going to die for sure. And at this point, he's got 200 power, and I realized that he hasn't played anything in a while, so I figured I'm going to put a rallying gun or a breeding ground somewhere. I probably should have put the breeding grounds here because his orb is right there, but I think my habit is that I remembered going all the way out here, so I figured I'm going to put the breeding grounds there. So yeah, I guess that's a mistake from me, but this is what it is. And JD decides to make a harvester right now, ignoring the breeding grounds completely, and that's okay. He's going to be fast. I just, saving 25% of 300 power is a pretty big deal. I decided to, I'm going to lose that well, yeah. So that's not great that I lose that well. So going even further in the hole, and I'm not super convinced that the harvester attack is going to be able to succeed against an orb. That's another reason why I built it here, because there's a power wall here. Power walls are just easier to kill than orbs because they've got, orbs have 50% more health than power walls. Yeah, so you're trying to punch through the orb, I think. Yeah, with everything that went on there, enemy disenchant, that removes life moving, and kill the harvester. So that's my great. But it's not over, right? JD has power for another harvester attack, which he goes for. And what we have to realize here is that what I shouldn't do is go all in. Sometimes you see that as like the Fire Nature player just goes healing spam on the harvester. So instead I do is I start to make a split attack, because they have one Frost player, right? Because it's Bandits and Shadow Frost. So he's going to play the Hour of Corruption and the Global Trick. So the Harvester might kill this, it might not. Yeah, the Harvester doesn't kill it, but they spend like somewhere around 300 to combat it. And they got rid of the Hour of Corruption and Glacier Shell, which are two of the most defensive spells. So meanwhile, I go on to an attack here, which has a much better chance of succeeding, and I split my Perverts to go and attack one more spot. Meanwhile, JD goes for a Harvester on this base, and with the Scorched Earth, that's going to prevent Ruffy from going to tier 3, sorry. So yeah, that orb's definitely going to drop. They should kill it before it drops, and they do. That's a correct play from them. Meanwhile, I've got some attacks going here and attacks going here, which is forcing them to be defensive. And JD, who has so much power, starts to tier 3, and he's going to keep the Harvester going for some pretty powerful temple leads. So I think, again, the point I want to emphasize here is that despite the fact that I've lost 3 wells so far, which is really, really bad, because they targeted me instead of JD, my deck is built in such a way that having low power is fine, and so I haven't even taken any additional power walls. I retook this one, which died, but yeah, so I'm basically still on the starting 2 power walls, and I'm just making buy with mostly void power. But the point is that I'm annoying them, and I'm forcing them to play defensively, while my partner is going on a pretty strong offensive rampage. There we go, just get tier 3, getting the silver 1 ministers going, and they're going to have to keep spending power to deal with Harvester, and having 80 power heal is pretty effective at assisting the Harvester. Again, that's not going to be such but yeah, so we've got basically 3 attacks going on, which is despite the fact, again, that they've got like wells all over the map. At this point, we need to definitely be going for orbs to prevent them from attacking up, but if we keep the initiative going, keep forcing them to spawn things at random places, and we can possibly make a push here. Yeah, so this is a very strong push. I think if they don't have a repair, they might not be able to get that in time, and they don't. Yeah, because again, they're focusing on lava field over here, and they're focusing on the defending the harvester up there. So they did kill the harvester, but the cultist master and so on lancers were able to take out that orb, which means that we are again pushing as JD's tier 3 versus both of their tier 2s. Actually, yeah, both of them are tier 2. And again, I've got that burrow that keeps going. With Skyfire Drake, and that's just honestly, I feel like they should probably ignore the wells. I think that would be the way for them, because my attacking the wells is really distracting. Because like if I kill the wells, so what? They've already got so much more power. I mean, we can even check, right? Right now, I've got like what? I've got a breeding grounds and I've got a burrower, so it's like 140 power on the field. Oh, my teammates for tier 4, by the way. I didn't even mention that. Um, but I've got like, let's say 600 power if we're lucky, and I think that's quite a bit less versus my partner. Um, he's got like that same power plus void of about 600. Plus he's got a bunch of stuff on the field. Plus he's got more power levels and more herbs. So he's just so much more power than me. Ruffy also has a pretty insane amount of power, right? But the point is that he can't utilize this because we're keeping him stuck in lower tiers. So I guess this match is essentially over. Yeah, there's the Ember Strike to close out the game. And you can see this wasn't, I guess, some people complain about tier 4. It depends on the situation. But I want to point out in this game, it wasn't like JD just waited 100% of the game and then played Ember Strike. Ember Strike was a closer, but he kept on the pressure going through tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. So yeah, I hope this was instructive about how to make comebacks happen. And again, the key here is to realize that we were playing Fire Nature plus Pure Shadow, so our defensive options are a lot limited. And so the key was that instead of defending my position, I went aggressive and I sort of traded my position for somebody else's position. And that's really fine because my position was built in such a way that it's okay if I have low power. Um, if they had been attacking JD, I think this would have been a very different story. But you know, uh, you saw how hard I made some mistakes in the beginning. I was losing a whole bunch by then, so obviously we're not going to get a comeback without a mistake happening. But the idea is to make such a window for that to happen. So I hope this was instructive, if not interesting, and I'll see you in the next one.